Quiz 3, question 9 asks us to think of a portfolio that has certain weights in it, compute a beta for each of the stocks, and then calculate the expected portfolio return. So let's just type in the weight. Well, yeah, sure. We'll do the weights first. If you watch the video from the last problem, I show you how to hide rows. You should totally do this on this problem. It is not worth your time to do it any other way. So you have 25%, 30%, and 10%, 0.25, 0.3, 0.1, 15, and 20, 0.15, and 0.2. Okay, let's calculate the beta for each of these stocks. So the beta for each of these stocks, you can use the slope formula. We have never talked about this in class because we never calculated the beta. I'm guessing this has a chance of showing up on the final exam. So you should learn the slope formula. And essentially what the slope formula does is it takes the slope of, it essentially calculates returns of GM relative to returns of the S&P 500. It's a linear regression equation, and yeah, that's what it does. So all you do is just highlight GM, highlight the S&P 500. I'm going to lock the S&P 500 cells. And again, slope gives you the movement of GM relative to the S&P 500, which is the beta. It's the covariance. It's the way that GM covaries with the S&P 500. So once you lock it, you can hit return. And I'm going to put this in an actual format. You want this to be a number format. Oops. And you can copy and paste it for CVS and Walmart. And here you have to do it again because you can't use the entire time series for Zoom. Let me also put this in number format. Okay, so we have our slope and betas. And if you remember CAPM, the CAPM model says that the return on some asset or portfolio A is going to be the risk-free rate plus the beta for that asset or portfolio times the return on the market minus the risk-free rate. Another way of saying this is that this is the market risk premium. The market risk premium is a measure of sort of how much extra return you could get by virtue of investing in a risky asset. Well, we have the risk-free rate. That's given in the problem as 1%. The market risk premium, I believe, is 8%. I'm going to take a guess and assume it is. So that means that we can calculate everything here. What we need to calculate is the beta for A. Well, the beta for our portfolio. And all that is the sum product of the betas. This is a weighted average of the betas. And so mathematically speaking, what happens is we're doing 25% times 1.3443, 30% times 1.1389, 10%, and so on. And that should be that kind of number. And so I'll just drop down a little bit. Oops. And calculate out here is the expected return. Using just the CAPM formula right here, the risk-free plus the beta times the market risk premium, the answer is 8.24%, and that's exactly what we have in the solutions. The intuition here is that a portfolio should have a weighted average of the betas in the portfolio. And beta, as you remember, is like a measure of how much the stock responds to systematic risk. So for instance, GM is very responsive to it, whereas Walmart is not. So when you multiply this portfolio, then this is the expected return on the portfolio, which is 8.24%. Hope that helps.